Looks like Nancy Pelosi is going to be bringing all the House members back to Washington to try to vote on this $3.5 trillion spending bill. Now, this spending bill is going to be to fund the government. They got to raise the debt ceiling. This is going to be just another giant spending spree where they're going to have to just borrow the money. They're going to have to print the money. But this might be good news for the American Families Plan, which is the most important thing, I feel like, for the next stimulus check or the next round of stimulus. That could be in the American Families Plan. They haven't really come out yet and said, hey, this is what we're going to be doing as far as more stimulus. But at least they have this giant $3.5 trillion budget plan. If they can drop another $400 billion in that huge amount of money they're going to be spending into the government, then that's going to be those checks that be going out to everybody. Now, most of the checks will be going out direct deposit, and they'll be going out through checks. And a lot of people have already received those deposits already, and they may have already received those checks. If you've never received any of the checks ever be in the past, there is a non-filer's tool. There's a free tool online that you can go to on the Treasury website. You can go there, fill out that information, and there is a place to, when you fill out your returns for 2020, there is a spot on there called the Recovery Rebate Credit. You can say you never received your first 2 payments. You drop that information in there, you submit it, and then they will look at that, and then they will get your first 2 checks out to you, plus the actual 3rd check. But that's going to allow you to get those checks if you never received them. If you never received your check and you think you have, you already been to the portal, there is a way to trace those checks. You can reach out to the IRS or the Treasury, and you can say, hey, I never received them, and they'll do a trace on it. If they can't find it, then they'll reissue a check, either deposit or a paper check to you. I want to cover a lot of details that's happening right now with Nancy Pelosi, with Chuck Schumer, with Congress and all them trying to get this new stimulus package out the door, plus all of the new states that are already coming out and sending out more payments to everybody that live in those states. So Nancy Pelosi, she's the Speaker of the House of Representatives, is the ones that are going to try to vote on this $3.5 trillion budget resolution. Now, this is a big, giant package that the Congress is going to have to try to vote on. I think it's going to have a hard time in the Senate to try to get passed. But there's already another bill called the infrastructure bill. That is a $1.2 trillion bill. That is a huge plan to try to get more money to roads, bridges, just try to spend that into the economy. But they are just crazy spending right now. It's unbelievable the amount of money they're printing and then putting into the economy. The $3.5 trillion budget plan will have that American Families Plan in there. Now, inside of that American Families Plan, President Biden wants to extend the child tax credit out through the year 2025. That would put those monthly payments that everybody's getting with children right now, that would put that out through every month until the year 2025. So I look forward to that actually coming through in this budget plan if they can get it through the Senate. That's where I think a lot of Republicans are not going to be on board with this. I think it's just too much money. I think it's too big of a budget, and it's going to probably die out in the Senate. But who knows if they can get this passed. If they can get it done, they're going to use that reconciliation process. That means there's 51 votes in the Senate. They can use that, and they can get this passed, and then that would go out. And, I'm not really sure what's inside of it yet. So we're going to have to, Nancy Pelosi, a lot of times she says, pass the bill before we can see what's inside of it. To me, that doesn't make much sense, but at least she's going to try to get this moving forward. So I'm going to keep you updated on this as far as when this new budget resolution will get passed in the basically in the House and goes over to the Senate.
Why did your Republican colleagues vote for this bill?
Good question. I have to say I don't know the answer to that question, and I'm disappointed that anybody would support this bill. You said it exactly right. This isn't an infrastructure bill. This is a radical left woke politics bill that has stuff like gender identity mandates in it, the radical equity agenda, the Green New Deal. That's all in this bill. And by the way, it's going to cost trillions of dollars, pork barrel spending. There's stuff like bridges and highways in Canada in this bill. We ought to be building highways and bridges in the United States, not in foreign countries. This is a bad bill, and that's why I voted no.
So did the Republicans get scammed again?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. I mean, listen, this is all Joe Biden's agenda. That's the key thing to know. This is the Biden far left agenda, spending trillions of dollars to remake our society and to remake it in the image of the woke left. That's what he wants to do, and that's what he is succeeding in doing right now. And so it's absolutely imperative that Republicans say, no, this is not the right vision for this country. We are not our country. We're not an evil country. We're a good country. We don't need to be remade. Americans need to be empowered to live their lives. That needs to be our agenda. I mean, what it looks like to me is over $1 trillion in pork barrel spending. Only a small percentage of that actually goes to roads and bridges and, in my state, waterways, which are important. And what do Americans get stuck with? They get left with a massive tab that they're going to have to pay for with increased taxes, and they get left with woke politics, which is what most of this bill goes to pay for. That's why it's such a bad deal, and that's why Republicans need to oppose.
Now, a lot of you are wondering, you know, I don't have any children. Why am I not getting a stimulus check? I get it. That's probably what's going to happen in the next round of stimulus if it comes out with a fourth round. But for right now, those that do have children, there was about 15 billion that was sent out last week in payments. These payments going out to around 36 million U.S. families. Majority of them went through deposit and to paper checks. So that is definitely good news for people that do have children. If you have children under the age of 6, you're getting a monthly check. And even children between the age of 6 and 17, you're also getting a monthly check. And that's just part of the child tax credit. There is an earned income credit that is available to a lot of people that earn a certain amount of money and less. I think it's close to, I don't know, maybe 30,000 and less. If you fill out the earned income credit, you can actually pick up some stimulus checks on those. But I think that's probably going to be in this new plan, this American Families Plan. That'll be the earned income credit. But at least for right now, those that do have children, 36 million are getting that payment every month. So it does pay off if you do have a lot of children.
I want to talk today about what we're going to do to try to ease the burden on families right now. For millions of families, help is on the way right now thanks to the American Rescue Plan. Friday, about 40 million families will receive their second monthly payment as part of our tax cuts for families with children. There are going to be some ups and downs. But I am committed to making sure that our historic economic recovery reaches everyone. This time reaches everyone and eases the burden on working families, not just this year, but for the years to come.
So the unemployment right now data the unemployment data is looking good. The unemployment rate is dropping, but it's not really good for getting out a fourth stimulus check. When the stimulus checks went out before, you had July of last year, it was 10%. You have June, 11%. May was 13%. Going back to April was 14%. So this was a big percentage, and now we're about 5.4% is the percent of unemployment. Now the reason why we got so many stimulus checks in the past, we got those 3, is because of the fact that the unemployment data was so high. Yeah, it was dropping every month, but at least it was still high, and that was putting a lot of pressure on Congress to get out another stimulus. So what are they going to do moving forward? Well, they're going to have to figure out what's happening with this unemployment. If the unemployment data is dropping, it's just showing that people are going back to work and they're able to earn income. If that unemployment starts to rise again, then it might be time to get out another stimulus check, and that's something that they're just going to have to, they're going to have to look at that data and continue on to decide, okay, are we going to get more checks out? Because they do have to borrow this money. They got to spend it and borrow it. Now, I think you can argue about a lot of the stuff that they spend that money on is not the best, but that's probably for another video. But for right now, at least the unemployment data is dropping. Might not be good for a fourth stimulus check. So in the American Rescue Plan, there was close to 350 billion total that went out to all the states. Each state and each city got some of this money from the last stimulus round. You got Texas. Looks like Irvine is the biggest state or biggest city right now that's going to be giving out $2,000 payments to their staff of educators that go back to the classroom by September. Tennessee is giving out $1,000 bonus payments to teachers and who's labeled hazard pay. Michigan, $500 hazard pay to teachers bonuses. Georgia, $1,000 payments to teachers and part-time teachers get $500. And Florida is going to be sending out $1,000 payments to not only teachers, but also frontline workers. So police, fire department, I believe doctors in that area. That's where those stimulus checks are be going out in each state. New Mexico, $5 million, doesn't seem like a whole lot. New Mexico, I think they received $1.8 billion in that American Rescue Plan. They could send out a lot more. I think it's kind of just silly that they're going to be spending that much or that little. Maryland, it looks like they're going to be sending out $500 and then $300 for individuals. So $500 for families, $300 for individuals. Colorado, looks like they're going to be sending out $375 payments. And then obviously the state of California, they're stepping up. Anybody that made less than $75,000 gets a $600 check plus the $500 paid out to children. So that seems to be a very good check right now from California. They're spending a lot of money into their economy. And I think it's good news. You know, California, they got like $30 billion, ton of money. They should turn around and spend that into their economies. They should turn around and spend that into their residents. You do have to live in California, and you have to have been living there for at least 6 months in order to get this new payment. But that's going to be going out in September, and you have to file your returns with the Franchise Tax Board in order to get that payment set up for that state. I'm going to keep you updated on a lot of the new states. I think every state should come out with something. Most of the states probably will be coming out with this $1,000 bonus. You know, it's just a matter of time they should do that. Every state has tons of money in their treasury right now, and so there's close to 50 states, and there's only maybe a handful of states so far that have done anything, and they'll probably have some big plan in the future for getting more stimulus out. So whatever state you're in, I'll keep you updated on the data of when those new payments will be going out. Now, even though the unemployment date has been dropping and it's putting a lot of pressure on Congress maybe not to send out a forced stimulus check, there is this big petition. It's close to 3 million people that have signed this. This is a $2,000 monthly checks that they want to get out. Now, for a lot of you saying, well, this is great, but this is just really just a petition. It has nothing, it has no power, it has no real sticking power with Congress, but it does put pressure on them to say, this is what we want to get done. I think this is, you know, with 3 million signatures showing up there, you can actually go to change.org and you can sign that, be part of this plan, and this will allow you to at least put your voice be heard in this change.org. $2,000 monthly payments, that's a lot of, it's a big stretch, but I think that they should have done this from the very beginning when they closed down a lot of these cities and states. They closed down these businesses. And when you close a business down, the business can't survive because there's no income coming in. The employees that work for that business can't survive because they have no paycheck coming in. The businesses aren't going to continue on paying them. So really, Congress should have set up some type of monthly payment at the beginning that happened a year ago. And now with this whole new Delta variant and all this new stuff and this whole, you know, trying to get everything locked down again, it's crazy. But now's the time that they should be coming out with some type of monthly payment and getting those payments out, sent out to everybody. So if you have any questions, what you can do is you can drop those questions in the comments below. This is your daily stimulus check updated information for today. Updated information for today. Updated.